Welcome to the Real Estate Real Success Spotlight series. Today, I'm very pleased to feature Cody Kraus from Century 21 Local Home Team Realty in Kingsville, Ontario. Since starting his C21 real estate career in 2011, Cody has grown into a respected leader and a broker owner, building a thriving four-office operation across Windsor-Essex. Under his leadership, the brokerage has earned the prestigious Grand CENTURION Office Award in 2025, and we are very happy to have Cody here to tell us his story and pass along some advice for others. Cody, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to. Intro makes me sound a lot more impressive than I am, but
I did.
hopefully it's good anyways.
I'm sure it is because you've been with us for 15 years. I didn't even realize that until
Just about.
now.
Yep.
What drew
Yeah.
you to Century 21 to begin with?
So second generation. My dad was with Century 21. He just retired last year. I believe he was with Century 21 for 25 years for his whole career. So I co-opted with him during high school back when listings weren't posted on Kijiji or all the corners of the internet. So for my high school co-op, I asked him if I could basically work on getting his listings more publicity online. School was okay with it, and the office okayed it. So I spent 3 months doing that, and during that time, I started on my real estate license because once you turned 18, you could start on the license. So I was still in high school, but I started the licensing process, and then I got licensed at 18, and that's all I've done since then.
Now, what made you want to go from broker or to broker from a sales representative?
Sure. Do you want to start further back? What made me want to be a realtor in the first
Well,
place?
I'm kind of guessing it's the family history that made you want to do that. Is it something else?
So my family tried to talk me out of real estate.
Really?
Yep. But my first jobs were farms and restaurants. And I didn't like the idea where if I worked harder, I got the same wage as everybody else. And so I realized pretty young that I had to get into a career where you got paid for the effort that you put in, uh, proportionately, instead of just collecting a paycheck based on the time that you were there for. And
Yeah. So
so I realized that meant sales or business. And I watched dad in real estate sales, and my mom is an entrepreneur also. She had tanning salons. I really did not like that business. And so real estate just kind of seemed like a natural thing. Why not give it a shot when I'm 18 and don't have kids and a wife and a mortgage? And we'll see how it goes. And so that was kind of the start there.
so why were they trying to talk you out of it?
Because of the inconsistency in income. I mean, it wasn't a great real estate market, so I started in 2011. And keep in mind we're in Windsor, so the 08, 09 recession wasn't that bad across Canada in general, but in Windsor it was terrible because we're auto town that depends on Detroit for a lot. Uh, Economy wasn't good. We were selling homes for like our average sale price was like $150,000. So the rough listings that we had that were 50, $60,000, people were breaking into them and stealing the plumbing. There wasn't a lot of
Wow.
homes selling, so it was tough to make a living. The homes that did sold took a long time to sell. And like any good parent, they wanted me to be provided for. So they liked the idea of me going to a job that had regular, consistent income. But I wasn't happy there.
Okay. And did you try other things or did you
Yep.
just, you were committed to real estate?
No, so I started my license when I was 18, like I said. At that point in time, I had also started, there was a program called Summer Company. Great program. I'll maybe touch on the version of that I'm trying to help with in our area locally. So it was kids, basically up to college age that were looking at starting a business. You would apply for the program, give them an idea of what you wanted to do for a business, and then if you were eligible to be accepted into it, they would give you some education on, budgeting and how to set up a business and all that kind of stuff. So I tried lawn care and moving. And I did that for the summer to save up some money to go to university. And during that time, I was also cooking at a restaurant. So I would cook in the evenings and then cut grass and move people during the day. Then I would try and sell real estate on the weekends or the time when I wasn't doing that. And then I went into university and I put all my courses on 2 days so that I could try and work my other jobs the other 5 days of the week. So basically, just when you from the time you woke up till the time when you went to sleep, you were either at school or working.
You were
And
hustling.
wasn't really enjoying classroom education, but I really loved all the practical education I was getting in the real world. Um, Bumps along the road, like any business, whether that was real estate or my grass company. But I decided I wanted to give real estate a full-time shot. That probably, lawn care wasn't the career path for me.
And how long did it take until you said, yep, I can do this. I can make real estate full time?
Until my team leader gave me an ultimatum, which was you have to do this full time or leave our team.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
think that was the push you needed?
Yeah, it was totally. Yeah. I was sharing this with someone in our company that's a new sales rep in the last year and a half too. And I said it was the push that I needed at that time because it's really hard to give it a good, honest go and give your clients the care that they need unless you're doing it full time. Uh, but just because you're doing it full time doesn't mean that the money's going to follow right away too.
Yeah.
So my first
And
year, I
that's
didn't
hard.
do it full time. Sorry, what was that, Lee?
And that's hard when you've
Yeah.
got bills to pay and
Yeah.
yeah.
Again, for me, I think it was the right time because I was so young and I mean, I was paying rent, but I lived at home. But I mean, I made $9,000 my first full year in sales, and I think it cost me $15,000 to get licensed, plus your car and everything else on top of that, right? Then your, monthly fees for being in the business and advertising and everything. But this, I put my head down and worked. My network wasn't buying homes at that time because they were all 18 and either in high school or college or university. So I had to make connections with people I didn't know, a lot of cold calls to for sale by owners, that kind of stuff. But then you started seeing the progression, right? So I think I sold 13 homes in my second full year, and then 26 homes the third full year. And that year I finally made minimum wage. My T4 said $39,000. And I was like, okay, this was finally worth it after 3 years of doing this full time, right? But
Wow.
the fourth and fifth year is really when you see that snowball. And at this time, keep in mind the homes were very inexpensive in southwestern Ontario. 2015, our average sale price was like $200,000. So I finally, made a pretty good paycheck, but that took selling like over 40 homes. But it took 4 or 5 years to build up to that sales level.
What kept you interested and committed? Because I can see a lot of people at that point saying, ah, it's might be worth it.
I made a lot of amazing relationships with people, and that might sound a little uh, like the answer that everybody gives, but like in-depth relationships. Like I just came from a men's group right before I'm recording this call with you, and a couple of the guys that I've met through work. One of them specifically, his name's Matt. I met him when I was 18 years old and I started in the business. He was one of my first connections. Since then, he's come to my wedding. You know what? We've both got young kids. We've gone to each other's houses. We meet weekly. So, like, the relationship started from a very young age and they've continued over that period of time. And so, some of the most meaningful relationships I've built in my life have come through my career, whether that's with coworkers or clients that I was lucky enough to work for, other people in the business, and it's that's been the part of it that I really enjoy. Not to sound again super cliche, but it's a people business. Like, yeah, you sell homes, sure, you sell property, sure, but it's about serving a family. It's about serving people, and if you can develop a deep relationship, that's what keeps you in it. Because there's times when you're sitting there on Indeed scrolling, going, man, there's got to be a better career out there with better hours where I'm not investing my own money. But then you come back to the relationships that you've built and you go, yeah, but that's why it's worth it.
Yeah. So, what made you want to make the jump? You're finally making some money as a salesperson. What made you say, now I want to help other people make this money?
Yeah, so I guess it was a progression. So I started on a team and then I came into to leadership of the team later. And originally as a partner. And then the partnership phased out and it was just me running the team. And we did that for a couple years, and that was through the really, good sales periods of COVID, 2019, 2020, 2021. As you know, the interest rates really cranked up in the second half of 2022, and that led to a much slower market in 23, 24, and 25. And started to hear, a little bit of belly aching around the table. After a few really good years, people are kind of going, man, where's my next deal going to come from? Do I need to go get another job? Like, what do we do next? Like the phones aren't ringing. And I kind of just stepped back and looked and said, you know what, we've worked way too hard for this. We're not going to compromise on this now. So we dug into our budget, looked at the money that was going out and the money that was coming in. And I had a meeting with the team and I just said, you know what, I think um, that you're paying too many people and that I'm providing a lot of the service as your team leader that a brokerage would normally provide. And so I think the natural next progression here is for me as the team leader to become the brokerage level leader. And what we did is we had a lot of good systems as a team. The brokerage had a lot of good systems. So I talked to our ownership, which was, aging towards retirement, about a buyout. And so they agreed to sell the company. And we were able to keep a lot of their systems like deal processing and all that kind of stuff. They had good systems that worked out. But we had a lot of really good systems from client follow-up, what we call market exposure reports, the process that we went about listing homes and meeting with clients. We had really good seller listing presentation packages, really good buyer presentation packages. And so I was able to take a lot of the systems that we were using at a team level and bring them to benefit an entire brokerage level. And through all this madness, my wife and I have had 4 kids now. And so our kids are all 8 and under, and it's a really busy household. And I admire the agents that are really good at balancing their family life and their work life. I was not gifted in that area. And so it was really tough for me to draw that line and say no to my business sometimes in order to say yes to my family. And I found it was growing difficult. And I thought, you know what? How can I stay in this industry that I love with the people that I love, with all the relationships that I've made, but still be respectful to my family time while my children are young, still do all the things that I love about leading our team, but I guess still stay involved with the industry. And it was, well, maybe I need to switch clients, and my clients are going to be realtors now that are helping the families buying and selling homes rather than being the direct person serving the friends and the families that are buying these homes. And so I still go on a lot of appointments. I still help all my agents. The satisfaction I got of helping a first-time home buyer, achieve their dream of home ownership. Now I can kind of vicariously live through the agents that are working at our brokerage and help them serve those young buyers. And then I also get the win of, seeing an agent learn things, grow in their business, and I guess find that sales success for themselves too. I
It
don't know if
sounds
that
like it was a very thoughtful process for you. Maybe
maybe.
it didn't feel like that on the inside as you were going through it, but you put a lot of thought and effort into how you wanted to feel dealing with realtors versus being a real estate agent yourself.
Maybe.
How do
Yeah.
you hope that has reflected in the culture you have built?
So for us, the cultures is the main thing. Um, in the real estate industry, as I'm sure you're fully aware, Lee, is that there's a bit of that lone wolf mentality, right? We call ourselves coopetition sometimes, and it's funny because we're cooperating with another realtor or even another real estate brokerage on the other end of almost every single deal. But at the same time, we might be competing with them at the listing table or for a buyer at an open house or whatever it might be. And when you're not on part of a team, it's really hard to feel like someone else has your back or that you can discuss freely things with them, maybe specific to a certain deal or to a certain client, because you feel like although they're my friends or maybe even at the same company, is this safe? Am I competing against them? Are they maybe gathering intel on my business? And honestly, I don't think it's always like that. Um, but it might feel like that. And so I loved the idea of being part of a team because I knew that there was a level of trust that we weren't going to take business from each other, that we would actually be sincere and give each other encouragement and build each other up. And we were pretty tight knit on our team. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do this at a brokerage level, it needs to be very, very intentional that we don't lose that culture so that we keep the family feel. Um, so for us, it's not the route of the online brokerages where you never even meet your management and your other agents and you work from home. We're very I guess curated in the way that we meet and that we run the brokerage with intentionality. So we have 4 offices. Our entire office meets twice a week. So we have an office meeting in the city on Mondays and one in the county on Wednesdays. Um, and we kind of go around to different locations. What we didn't want to lose was the caravan tours. I love that. It's kind of a small brokerage thing. I see a huge benefit for our agents and for our seller clients also. So we have an hour meeting where we bring good info. We try and learn something together, share a little bit of encouragement. Sometimes we have well, actually, every week we have an optional devotion that happens before the meeting too. And then after that, we go out and tour the new listings that the agents are bringing to the company. And so we're big on being together in person to really build those relationships deeper, help each other out so that we don't feel like a bunch of lone wolves. And the big thing is we want to focus on having productive agents inside of our office, not just butts and seats. And so we're very intentional that we actually don't charge monthly fees at our company. We only charge based on production because agents don't get paid if they don't sell a house. So our thought is, why would a brokerage get paid if their agents aren't selling houses? And it puts the onus on us as management to go out and try and build our agents up so that they can be productive and actually be effective when they're going out and interacting with the public and serving them. And so that's the whole mentality that we run. The culture is very intentional. We break a lot of bread together. So we have monthly lunch and learns. We have full office meetings twice a year where spouses or partners are invited, and we do something fun like a dinner cruise or a Christmas party, all that kind of stuff. We love being in person, being together, and just building deeper relationships.
That is incredible that you've been able to get that intentionality, but also do you feel that you get the buy-in when an agent wants to join you? I'm guessing you're very clear about the expectations of being part of the brokerage. What sort of feedback do you get from them?
We do. And to be honest with you, it's hard to sell culture because everybody says it, not everybody means it. And so often what it takes is verification from one of our agents. So call them and get a referral. Or maybe the reason that we're meeting with this agent in the first place is because one of our agents has said, "Hey, you got to join here. It feels like family." That's the we try and send feedback reports to all of our agents to figure out what we can improve, what we can do better, whether they're new agents or existing. And the one comment that we get back most often from agents that have joined our brokerage is that it feels like family. And that wasn't necessarily what we were shooting for, but I'm totally okay with that being a byproduct. And again, it's really hard to sell culture. It's something that you have to experience because the word gets thrown around loosely. So the proof is in the pudding. Hopefully, the rest of our services are good enough to entice you to come over to our company. But it's hard to truly, I guess, see the value of the culture until you're immersed in it.
What if an agent isn't productive? You're not charging monthly fees. How do you still create a business for yourself?
Yeah. So first off, I try and mentor our agents. So on an annual basis, or as often as people want, I offer to meet with them and we set out a business plan for the year. And I guess ways that we can measure our steps towards that. We do try and, give as many leads from the company that we can to our agents, and we try and evenly distribute those. Of course, we want to try and match clients up with the personality of the agent. However, you can't make people sell houses. You can't make them be effective. You can give them all the tools. The old saying, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So, how do you encourage, I guess, productivity if you're not seeing it? Um, I guess a few ways. So from I guess theory standpoint, it's hopefully they see us as leaders putting in the work every week, coming to all the meetings, being personally involved, making ourselves available to go on appointments with our agents, helping them build their presentations. Hopefully they see leadership leading from the front and putting the effort in every day. Um, Also regular check-ins. Hey, how you making out with this client? Hey, how's your listing going over here? How's the inquiries? How are you guys coming towards your condition removals there? Frankly, if there's just not a whole lot happening, it's a check-in, coffee, lunch. Hey, can we talk about what's going on? And it's not always just business. Often it's more, hey, this is what I'm dealing with personally. But there becomes a point where you go, I hope I'm not enabling them to continue being non-productive and just be okay with that. Because frankly, it costs a lot of money to be an agent. Even though I'm not charging monthly fees, you have all your professional dues to the various organizations, your provincial board, CREA, the Canadian Real Estate Organization or Association. For us in Ontario, RICO for our professional standards insurance, the local boards that we're a part of. Then just, running around in your car, spending a lot of time on showings and open houses, putting a lot of gas into your vehicle, the wear and tear, all the phone calls. It's a big time commitment. It's a big money commitment. I want to make sure if you're investing all that time and money that you're seeing something back from it. And frankly, if you're not, let's talk about if the career's right for you. And if you are genuinely motivated that yes, I want to be a realtor, and yes, I want to do this full time, and yes, I want to be successful and develop all these good relationships, well, then let's talk about accountability and training moving forward. And so, we've had meetings where we talk about a performance improvement plan and we put a number in place where, okay, let's, measure the activities that we're doing each day. Let's work on your CRM. Let's work on your client contact calendar, all that kind of stuff to take steps towards, let's say, putting two ends on the board by the end of the quarter. Um, we're flipping our theory on that a little bit right now, and we're actually introducing a 33-week program that we're rolling out April 1st this year. And it's interesting. I stole it from another real estate coach in the industry, but I'm also licensing his program from him. So it's okay to steal it because I'm paying for the use of it. But
It's not stealing if you're paying for it. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's licensed, so it's going to be good. But what he did is when he was instituting training in his brokerage, he made his agents buy in, and so his buy-in was, guys, come on this sales, I guess, building journey with me. There's a 33-part video series that goes along with it, or you can hire him to come in person and do it. Um, and you got to buy in. So he was running a program and he said to buy in, it's $1,000. But if you write out the program to the end of it, you get your $1,000 back. Right. So it costs them a little bit to join. Therefore, because they have some physical buy-in to it, it hurt a little bit. They had to pay $1,000. They want to write it out to the end to get their $1,000 back and to make sure that they're not wasting their money. And so I think the theory that we're going to go with here is for many people at a brokerage, it's going to be optional. And we're not going to charge $1,000. There's 33 sessions. We're going to charge $10 a session. So it's going to be 330 bucks. This program that he was running was very, very intense. It was every single day. What we're going to do is make it a 1.5 hour session each week over the 33 weeks. And if you stick it out to the end, you get your 330 bucks back, right? Now, often people don't care about the $1,000 by the time they got to the end of this other guy's program. They got so much more productive in the meantime by putting the work in and being regular and being held accountable for that whole period of time. Their business took off and it was good. And so my theory is here, you need to be willing to be accountable. And if you're not, maybe the career's not for you, and that's okay. But I'm going to put in the effort. Now it's up to you to show me that you're willing to put the work in. So I'm going to be there every week for the training. I'm going to go through the program with you guys. I'm going to be, filling out my sheets just like you're filling out your sheets that says you're hitting your appointment goals, that you're making your contacts, all that kind of stuff. Now it's up to you to do the same thing. And if you can do that and show me that you can do that regularly over, 8 months, there should be no reason you're not making sales at the end of that. And if you're not, well, did you really put the effort in? Because at the end of the day, again, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Some of this is a little bit out of our control. We started our conversation, you talking about when you were getting into the business in 2011 and the market was terrible.
Yeah.
Given that you are a manufacturing area, are you seeing the same types of stuff now within the market, which is holding agents back? And it, what are you seeing right now?
Actually, our average sale price isn't down as much as you would think it is because we are so manufacturing heavy. Like with all the tariffs that are in place, there was a study that came out and it said that Windsor is going to be the third most affected city in Canada by US imposed tariffs.
Mhm.
But to be honest with you, if you look at our 2021 average sale price, which was right around 570,000, we're only about 4% below that right now. At the end of 2025, we were at 550. We are a little bit lower so far in 2026. Now, the first quarter is not even done yet at this point. We're recording this at the end of March. And our average sale price is looking more like 540. So our average sale price from 2021 is down about 5% right now in 2026. So it's not as decimated as you would expect. However, the number of units trading last year, it was about 5,000 units across the Windsor-Essex County Real Estate Board, and we also work in Chatham, Kent too. But just for reference sake, the last time we saw that few homes traded in Windsor-Essex County Real Estate Board, I believe was 2013. So although the prices have actually held fairly steady from the highs, and I know they were higher in 2022, but they came down as quick as they went up. So I like to measure it against 2021 because a lot of other areas of Canada still haven't, they're still below the 2021 levels, and we are, but only by about 5%. But the number of units trading is down substantially. Now, my hope is that last year was an anomaly And if we just look at data, it's reasonable to think that we're going to see a few more units trade this year, a few more people pull the trigger on selling their homes. But I don't expect price gains. Just with inflation right now on fuel, on groceries, people can't afford to be taking on, bigger mortgages. And if they're renewing a mortgage from 2021 that was a 5-year fix, they're renewing from 2%, into maybe 3.8, 3.9. That's still pretty good below 4%, but it's actually still double the interest rate they were paying. So I don't expect prices are going to take off. I think they're going to remain around where they are right now for the next 2, 3, 4 years, if I had to guess. But I think most of the impact in the market has already been felt. And my hope is that we're kind of at the bottom right now. I just don't expect that upward momentum for a while. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
there anything else you thought I was going to ask but haven't asked yet? Yeah.
Why don't I cover one of the most common questions I've gotten over the last 2 years?
Yes. What's
It's,
that?
do you regret going into ownership and leadership? And my answer to that question is no. I'm not a formal education person, so any real life experience I can get, I consider it education, whether it was a mistake or not. I don't believe it was a mistake at all. Is it exactly what I thought it would be? No. It's tougher in a lot of areas than I thought it would be, and that's produced growth. Um, but man, it's funny. I really do miss the everyday of meeting with clients too. So I would say for people that are really dreaming of owning a real estate brokerage, it's an incredible career and I love it and I enjoy it. There's a lot of benefits that come from it. I love helping support my agents and build them up. Some things that you might not consider when you're maybe a busy agent or a team lead is the operating costs when you're owning a brokerage, the HR that's now imposed on you as the owner because you got staff working under you as your administration and like for example, we have a broker of record. Even though I'm the owner of the company, I have a broker of record because my skill set is not that which is required of a broker of record. For example, compliancy. I know that compliancy makes sense and that we need to do it. However, I just don't have a personality that's like, hey, I'm going to be on top of everybody's paperwork. So I needed to make sure that I hired a person that did have that skill set so that I could stay in my lane of growth and training and all that kind of stuff. So I absolutely love the career change. Um, it's not everything that I thought it would be, and there's some good and bad that comes with both sides of that statement. But there's absolutely a lot of times where I miss meeting with the families because that's what I enjoyed about my career over the 13 years prior to moving into ownership too. So I would just maybe put that out there as a message to whether you're
Yeah.
an independent agent, whether you're part of a team, maybe you're on staff at a brokerage and you're considering going from a single agent to a team or from a team lead to a brokerage owner or getting out of management and just being an agent. There's pros and cons, ups and downs with every side of that. The real estate industry offers a lot of different opportunities, and I would say do an internal audit of what your biggest skills are and the areas that you bring most to the table, and then look at the different roles of the industry and see how you can bring the most value and choose that role. And it never hurts to try different things, and you don't want to roll the dice. You want to make contemplated, thought out, calculated decisions and risks. But it's not always going to be everything you thought it was going to be. And same thing with agents that are just getting licensed right now. It's the world is not HGTV. Once you get your licensing done, guess what? You're sitting at the dinner table and the couple that you just met, they're telling you about their divorce and they haven't told their family yet, right? Or maybe on the positive side, they just found out they're expecting and they haven't told their friends yet. And so you're going to be on this emotional roller coaster that's up and down, whether you're an agent, whether you're a team lead, whether you're a manager, whether you're administration inside of the company. I would encourage everybody to try and learn all parts of a real estate brokerage, all parts of the team, all parts of the industry. And I think you'll really come to value all the different parts once you try and learn them all, but then really push in narrow and deep on the role that fits your drive the best. So that's one thing I would put out there. The other thing I would say is that for an agent that's considering being part of a national franchisor brand or going with an independent brokerage, um, I've only ever been with an international brand, so a Century 21. Um, and I certainly see that, there can be some things that people like about dealing with local, right? Support local, all that kind of stuff. The really neat thing about being part of Century 21 Canada specifically, I kind of had like this full circle moment when we were just at the 50th anniversary of the company in Vancouver, because here you have an industry that's arguing over well, should we be part of a Canadian company? So maybe we look at the independents or the just Canadian-owned franchises, or do we still like the idea of a global reach, a globally recognized brand, open ourselves to referrals to agents from other countries and all that kind of stuff? Century 21 Canada, I believe, is the only company in Canada where the entire franchise is a master franchise that is wholly Canadian owned to and then sold and operated by local people in their market, but then you're part of a globally recognized network and brand also. So even though I'm Century 21 local home team here in Windsor-Essex County and Chatham, Kent, I have the backing of all of Century 21 Canada. And when I go to Mexico, I still see Century 21 down there. And I've had clients go to Portugal and send me pictures of a real estate brokerage in Portugal that's Century 21. And so it's kind of this best of both worlds here. And it's not an expensive brand to be part of. There is a cost, but it's a valuable. It's not money out the window. The tools that you get for it, the CRM, the agent websites, I honestly believe are some of the best looking in the industry. There's been some times where I've been upset with my company over the years, whether it's locally made decisions or whatever, just like anybody's going to have at any company. And I always go back to what is the brand? How am I going to be perceived? What's the referral network like? All that kind of stuff. And guess what? I haven't gone anywhere. I've talked with every real estate brokerage just about. I know what the offerings are. I know what the competition offers, but I've made that choice to stay here because I see the total benefit of, again, globally recognized network, Canadian support, local ownership and management, and then the referral network that's inside of it. And I think it's a game changer. I think it's a no-brainer.
Well, we're so happy to have you, Cody. And talking about the 50th anniversary and what we were talking about, that idea of family and culture and helping each other out, that is something that comes up over and over again with
Yeah.
Century 21. And it's part of people like you who just help us carry that through from coast to coast. So
Yeah.
thank you. We're
Yeah.
happy to
No,
have
I'm happy to be part of the family. And it feels that way, honestly.
you. Yeah, it sure does. Well, thank you very much. This has been a great chat. We covered lots. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I hope it brings value to somebody else or at least a little bit of encouragement. And obviously anybody can reach out to me at any time too. I'm in real estate, so if you ever need some advice or maybe you want to bounce something off me, I'm here and just happy to be part of the conversation. So thanks, Lee.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Cody.